What do you think about the idea of TEXIT? TEXIT. So let me give some color to it, so we can cover how this conversation came about with TEXIT. The word TEXIT, succession, and Texas are being mentioned more frequently and by actual politicians. The Supreme Court's dismissal of the Texas lawsuit against 4 other states regarding presidential election has the Lone Star's state Republican Chairman Alan West suggesting a U.S. split. Earlier in the week, Texas State Representative Kyle Biederman tweeted out that he plans to file legislation to give Texans a vote for Texas to reassert its status as an independent nation. The movement for Texas to leave the union has been dubbed TEXIT. Thoughts?
Well, I'm against it, period, end, so I'll put that out there. That being said, if you're talking pure economics here, our borrowing costs would likely be lower than the nation as a whole. We have one of the most diverse economies in the country. Dallas itself is the #1 commercial real estate market in the nation today. We are the largest exporting state in the nation. We export more than California. We're the 2nd largest economy in the country. And we have an infrastructure that is second to none in terms of the capacity and capability of being economically independent as a nation.
We do.
Texas does.
Texas does.
Yes, if you're asking me on paper,
yeah,
absolutely.
Why won't it make sense to do? Like, what would be the negative? Like, the whole Brexit, you're looking at Brexit. If you have a Brexit, with a citizenship, you can go live in Norway, you can go live there. If you do Brexit and you can't do that, so a lot of people that are working take it, it's going to hurt some businesses. People in London are going to take it. Headquarters are going to move out of London. They're going to have to go elsewhere. So when you actually go deeper into Brexit, you kind of see the pros and cons of it. And I know it's 51-49 type of number that they're talking about, 53-47. So there's if anytime it's that number, both sides have a reasonable argument why they want and they don't want to do it, right? Why would be an argument for Texas to do it? You said those benefits, but why would be the benefit for them not to do it? Why should they want to stay in the union? What's the benefit?
Okay. So why are companies relocating from California to Texas? They want to be part of the United States of America, but in a business-friendly state.
Got it.
So they don't want to be isolated. They don't want to be penalized for, because that Great Britain will be, there will be penalties assessed.
Sure.
But that is not... Companies are not relocating to Texas en masse because they think Texas is going to secede from the United States of America. Right. It doesn't happen that way.
I totally agree.
And I'm a patriot, by the way. So I like our flag.
Yeah.
I stand for our flag. And again, my boys go to a military academy. They stand for the flag. Texas benefits by being part of the United States that is attractive to be in. It makes our economy roar. It gives us... You wouldn't have the same dynamic if Texas was not part of the United States. You wouldn't.
Let me ask
Plus,
you a
I can't
question,
wait
Pat.
until the economy of Texas is larger than that of California. So I want to stick around just to see that.
You said something the other day, and something that you even said, great analogy or metaphor, when you have the 2 parents, right? One parent is super strict, one parent is super lenient. Something that, I'm hearing it with different opinions, and a quote or a saying that I think reverberates is, the truth is usually lies somewhere in the middle, right? Where if there's 2 different opinions, the truth typically lies somewhere in the middle. So for me, when I hear Texas wants to secede, emotionally, I'm thinking that's treacherous. That's ridiculous. That's treason. You're going to leave the United States of America. That's why we fought the Civil War. That's freaking ridiculous. Like blasphemous, like emotional. Logical, you pointed out something the other day. It's like, well, maybe for lower taxes. And it's like, at what point does it make sense? Like, at what point would you say, I can't deal with this anymore, tax-wise, whatever? But again, I'm going to just revert back to the truth is somewhere in the middle. So I know you have an interesting opinion on this, but for me, emotionally, it's so absurd to even think about emotionally, but logically, it's like, well, there might be some benefits.
Well,
like Danielle
here's
said.
how I process this, Danielle. This is how I process this. I think the best thing that happened to coffee drinkers after they were paying $5 to Starbucks is coffee bean. I think Dunkin' Donuts started becoming a great thing because their coffee was, 99 cents, $1.19.
More Dunkin' Donuts in New York City than Starbucks.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. So then you saw McDonald's came out. Remember when McDonald's came out with the coffee like 6 years ago, 5 years ago? Everybody was like, go try the McDonald's coffee. It's ridiculous. Starbucks drinkers are like, dude, this is actually good. McDonald's coffee. I don't go to McDonald's, but I go to McDonald's for coffee. Who won it? Who won there? The consumer won, right? The reality is who won is the consumer, right? And Starbucks had to get their act together. Okay, so you work for a company and they say, well, our benefits, we offer this. Well, we're not going to offer those benefits. We're not going to give you 401k match, and we're not going to give you health insurance. You go figure it out.
That's all right. I'll go over
Then
here.
it's okay. There's this other, oh, you know what? No, we are going to offer 401k. We are going to offer health insurance. We are going to offer, okay, great. So this is
You're saying
good.
competition.
That's why
capitalism,
Amazon hires
competition.
people so quickly.
Yeah,
They're
so-
going to pay them $15 an hour and give them health insurance on day one.
There you go. So the point I'm trying to make to you is, who is America's competition locally? If people in America want to leave, where do they go? I think there needs to be a place for America want to leave. Like, for example, right now, what America has is, say the the state senators, Georgia, goes left. And Kamala is essentially a major decision maker in America.
No more ribbon cutting.
No more ribbon cutting, right? If that happens,
What do you mean by ribbon cutting?
I mean, she has a sort of position, she has a vice presidential position. Unless
You mean like actual things to do?
she
not just,
would have
becomes
actual
one of the
power.
most powerful VPs we've had in a
she
long
becomes one of the most
time.
powerful VPs. She becomes one of those powerful people in the world.
Yeah, dude, this is not a
if
joke.
both
Like,
Georgia seats go.
yes,
go,
yeah.
right.
So she is now, the second most
She'll have that
powerful.
deciding vote.
She's a top 5 most powerful person in America in the world. So it's going to be Biden, Xi,
Yeah,
Putin,
if Joe,
and she's
if
top
Joe
5.
Biden is true to his word about being a moderate and being a president for
Which
all the
I don't
people,
think is
he'd
going to
be
happen. Which
vetoing
I don't
his own
think.
legislation.
I don't think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So here's how I process it. The only way I process it is, okay, Oracle's moving to Texas. Great, better than where they are right now. Elon Musk moved to Austin. Great.
Hewlett-Packard.
Joe Rogan moved to
Hewlett-Packard, yeah.
Austin. Hewlett Packard moving here. Goldman Sachs is moving their trading
Florida.
side to Miami. You got the not Carl Icahn, the other billionaire.
Yeah, Carl Icahn too.
also moved to Florida.
Singer,
yes, that Peter
Wealth Management.
Paul Singer.
Paul Singer moved
Yeah.
over there as well. Okay, great. So that's moving from a state you're not happy to another state. I'm
Right.
all about. But now, where do I go if I'm not happy with the country?
When your federal income taxes are going up.
Now, federal income tax, where now you're paying 60%. If federal income tax goes to 60%, now where are you going? So federal income tax goes to 60% top line revenue. You're making $1 million. You pay 60% of that. You keep
and by the way,
400 of it.
your tax dollars are going to bail out all the blue states that the people
100%.
left.
So now watch this. So you make $1 million. Somebody goes, oh, that's so much money. You're not making $1 million. You're really going to end up making 400. And then if you're living in a state that's charging another 10%, so then you're going to end up being stuck with $300,000 income, give or take, say $350,000.
And the whole U.S. economy will slow down as well, so your property taxes are going up no matter where you live.
So if that happens, where do I go? Do I go to New Zealand? Do I go to
Hey, New Zealand is a rock star.
I know they are. That's why
Puerto
I said, do
Rico.
do I go to New Zealand? Do I go to Panama? Do I go to
Canada, I mean, there's always Canada.
Well,
if you don't mind the cold.
do I go to Canada? Where do I go? So I think that the way I'm processing it as I think it would be actually a good thing for the American voters if Texas became a country, because now you have, and Texas is a big land, plenty of room to expand. It's not a small place. You got a lot of, if you drive in Texas, you can drive for 6 hours and you don't see nothing. You can drive for
And you're
hours.
still in the state of Texas.
And you're still in the state of Texas. So meaning there's plenty of room for expansion. There's plenty of room for
I
all
have
that
a couple
stuff.
more questions.
Yeah,
for you. I
go
don't know if you
for it.
process
Yeah,
this.
I've got a
I'd love
big
to
old
get your
hole to
opinion.
poke in what
Here
you're
we
talking
go.
Please
about.
do
Here we
so.
go. A couple different
Go
things.
for it.
All right. So number one, if you're like, I'm a Texan now, no
Yeah.
more America. Okay. Number one, first question that comes to mind: what happens to the Electoral College? Because the Republicans cannot win
Yes.
they cannot win without Texas.
Of course.
Period. I mean,
Yes.
there's how many?
I agree.
30? Okay.
I agree.
All right. So Republicans will never win a presidential election ever again
I
without
agree.
Texas.
I
Boom.
agree.
Okay. What happens to people who are living in Texas who are like, dude, I want to live in America. I mean, I get it.
You have the choice then.
Cool. I'm an American now.
Right.
So what happens to everybody in Texas? Are you no longer American? You are no longer American. I'm just Texan. That's it. I'm not a member. I'm not a citizen of the United States. I'm not American. I'm just straight up Texan. Like, how far do we go? Like, what happens with elections? What happens with Electoral College? What happens with I'm American? Like,
And what happens to all of those federal dollars that the state of Texas gets to handle its social programs? And what are the carrying costs and the overhead,
think-
Mr. Businessman, of running a country?
I think we're forgetting something here. Here's what we're forgetting. I think we're forgetting that the innovators and the job creators sometimes just want to be left alone. And the innovators and job creators want to go to a place where they can continue to innovate and job create without being suffocated. You know, the idea of suffocation to someone who wants to be free is very, very important. I mean, I lived in Iran. You know, can you imagine telling your kids, never tell anybody we're Christians, okay? When you go out there, don't tell people you're Christians. Just say, I don't know what religion we are, you know. Don't tell anybody you're Christians. When you go out there, be careful when you do. Can you imagine having to give your kids, you already tell your kids, don't talk to strangers, don't talk to this, don't talk. Yeah. Imagine all the stuff that you tell your kids, add 40 other things you have to tell your kids when they go out there. If somebody poses, if the Hezbollah poses, if this happens, if that happens, if this happens. Okay. So eventually the job creators in Iran, you know how people say, oh, Iranians are so rich, oh, they're such great business people. It's not that they're great business people, it's the business people that left Iran that came here. The ones that are not business people, some of them decided to stay over there. The
capitalists are like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
I'm getting the hell out of here. So it's not like all Iranians are great business people. The business people left Iran and they came and they went to Santa Monica.
I worked for an Iranian for 9 years. He taught me all about running a business.
There you go. They're great business people, right? So
look at that.
The point I'm trying to make to you is, I think the job creators are not that worried about it. I think the people that would worry about it are those who have the jobs, those who have family in other states, those who love the idea of America. But if the idea of America, say America, what is the idea of America? Actually go there. What is the idea of America? And if we go in the direction with Georgia, all this stuff, then the idea of America is no longer the idea of America. It's still named America, but it's no longer America.
That's true.
So that's the point I'm trying to make to you. When I come to America, I didn't come to America. You could take the name out and you can say there's 50 countries in the world for you to choose from to raise your kids in. All the names are, you don't know it's Sweden, Norway, Mexico, anything. It just tells you the benefits of each state and what freedoms you have. You don't say, I want to go, oh, it's a beautiful name, I'm going to go to America. No, you say, I'm going to go to this country with these benefits. Which one is this? I'll reveal this state. Oh, it's America. Okay, I'll go to America. That's how families make the decision. They don't just say, I love how great of a name America. People come to America for the idea. So if the idea that the founders came up with is no longer relevant today, what the hell am I doing living in this idea that's no longer relevant? I'm going to go to another place that now is saying these are the ideas that we have in our country.
Are you saying that at the end of the day, this all comes down to taxes? Everything?
No, I didn't say
Texas,
that.
Taxes.
No,
taxes.
I didn't say that, buddy. I didn't say that. Listen,
I'm asking you, yeah.
It's not taxes. It's not just taxes. I want to be left alone. I want to be able to have an opinion. I want to be able to say something you totally disagree with me and say, you have no clue what the hell you're talking about. I want to have discourse. I want to sit down and be comfortable knowing that I can have an opinion that's opposing yours.
Can't we do that in Texas now, but part of the United States? Can't you do that in Florida? Can't you do that anywhere for that matter?
If it's based on the ideas that America was started on, yes. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of, Second Amendment, freedom. If I have those ideas, then yes. So I think, look, you know where I'm looking at moving next. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm sitting here telling you I'm going to be a Texan the rest of my life. So I'm not, all I'm saying is I actually think it's very good for Americans if Texas becomes its own country.
Oh.
So you would vote for Texas to secede. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think you heard what I said.
You say it'd be good for America.
Okay, guys, let's play domino one more time.
Yeah.
This is a terrible idea if Georgia doesn't happen and we don't flip all the way to the other side, okay? Mm-hmm. It's a terrible idea. But if Georgia happens and it's 50-50, you got Kamala Biden, 2 years to add 1,000,001 social programs that you can't say nothing about, and they're not going to sit there and say, you can't do anything for me to increase court packing. I can increase it to 9, 11, 13, 15, and own that forever. So Roe versus
Pat,
Wade.
I'm going to push back. You have to understand that 5 people is not a heavy majority. The House is not insured. The House is not bright blue. The House is a shade. The House is purple.
Let me ask you a question. How often do you notice that, like Supreme Court, the Supreme Court folks that we have, right? Trump brought how many of them in? 3 of them in. Mm-hmm. How many of them voted for them to go to a recount with the other 4? How many of them? How many of the 3?
None.
0.
Yeah.
What's the point? Republican justices will vote based on certain values and principles. Their loyalty is to the values and principles. Many times, Democratic justices will vote on their loyalty of their party. It's a big difference on values and principles. I don't know if I'm making sense on what I'm saying here.
I see where you're going with
So
that.
where
You're
I'm
saying one of them is a constitutional purist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So a constitutional purist is going to be like, look, I appreciate you, Trump. Thank you for putting me in. But, dude, I don't agree with you because it goes
We
against.
just had a real live test.
Yeah.
That was
so
it. Boom.
that's
and
the
respect to these justices
Of
for
course,
saying, all right,
of
look,
course.
sorry, buddy.
Of course, but that's not the case with folks on the other side.
Well, they don't have the majority. You're saying
But it
on-
doesn't
in the
matter.
Supreme
Historically,
Court?
they're always going to vote against Republican.
On the Supreme Court, you're saying?
Yes. So if you go to Congress, historically, more right is open to, well, you know what? I think it's fair. Let's talk about this. Then left is to say, I'm willing to reason with you. The right is willing to reason more than the left is willing to reason. The left is not willing to. You can sit there and give an argument. They're not going to sit there and say, you know what, Pat, you're making a good point. Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to pass this bill to raise capital gains to 39.6 because it's going to hurt the economy. Nope, I'm going to be loyal to my party. It's a difference between loyal to your party versus loyal to certain values
So
and
I
principles.
am going to throw something else out there. There is one overriding factor that motivates all politicians because remember, the Democrats used to be the party of the people, and that's changed. Who gets more money off Wall Street? The Democrats. So there is one overarching
You're not
theme
wrong.
that
I
we're
agree.
leaving out
Yeah.
here, and that's lobbyists and money.
But here's also what you're leaving out. What the other part you're leaving out is who is the source of delivering the messaging of that to the American people? The media. Who controls the media? 99% is the left. So if the messaging is going from that direction, I can spin the story, like the article came out the other day saying Biden's approval rating of the people today is above 60% by The Hill. How do you measure that today? Above 60%. And so imagine if I'm somebody that doesn't follow politics and I'm like, you know what? I knew I voted right. Look, people like this guy already. This is great. So the naive voter is just going to be like, okay, good. Oh, okay. The naive voter is going to say, oh, all right, got it. So yeah, the Democrats have historically been for the people who are maybe not the wealthiest, but why are they getting money from Wall Street? Oh, they're getting there because they're trying to control them, so they're not going to do it. It's all on messaging. Everything is on messaging. So,
but I do think that the banks have a lot. I think Jamie Dimon is one of the most powerful people in America. I really, really do. And I think that the big banks, yes. And I think that the big banks would not cotton to socialism in America.
why did they vote that way, though?
Oh, they. If you listen to an interview that Jamie Dimon made, he basically said what Biden is saying, that he's going to stay down the middle.
Right.
Which happens, by the way, as long as the Senate doesn't flip.
Danielle, there is say again. It goes back to the argument of you're working with somebody, and you're being more than reasonable with this person, but that person, no matter what you do for them, they don't think you're reasonable. No matter what you do for them, they don't think you're reasonable. When do you win with this person? You never win with this person.
Oh, you never win.
There's no winning with this person. So meaning, as much as Jamie Dimon may be the most powerful person in America, as much as, Biden campaigned on, I'm going to be the president for all the people, not just, the left, I'm going to be this, which was a great message. Obama gave the same as well when he gave this DNC speech in 2004 saying, it's America's not about the black and the white and the it's about the LGBTQ community. It's about the farmers. It's about those who believe in the guns. It's about, and he gave this message like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then he becomes president, never meets with Paul Ryan, and everything goes politically on one side. So messaging and execution are two different things.
I agree.
All right. So for me, all I'm saying is all I'm saying, my domino on why they ought to consider it as an option is if Georgia goes full left, and that goes that direction, I think people ought to hear the argument of why that may not be a bad idea to consider. Not saying to do it. I think it should be on the table to discuss what it will look like.
You like accountability, not just, it is what it is, bro.
It's not I like accountability, I like competition. I like competition a lot because competition is good for me. I need competition, okay? Because if I don't have competition, then how am I innovating? How am I getting better? How am I listening? If you don't have competition, you actually don't listen to people. You don't listen to your employees. You don't listen to your partners. You don't listen to your family. You don't listen. You have to have competition.
Right.
Competition is a very healthy thing for you. You need it, right?
And
So
now we've got 1 in 5 American companies that's The Walking Dead.
So
zombie companies.
As much as we talk about made in China 2025, and China is going to be bigger than U.S. by 2025.
It is if we do all these things.
Yeah, as much as we talk about that, but here's the question. Let's just say China passes America. How many Americans are going to wake up and say, that's it, I'm going to China? Nobody. It's not going to be, I'm going to China.
Yeah, but all 4 of my kids take Mandarin in case we ever have to deal with them.
There's a difference between dealing with
Mandarin?
them. There's a
4
difference
of them?
between
Danielle.
dealing with them and moving. Would you move your family to China?
of course
Okay,
not.
so there's a difference between communicating and doing that, right? Sure. Okay, so all I'm saying is if something happened to America where it flipped far, far, far in one direction politically, what's your plan B? Where are you going?
I hear Wuhan is lovely this time of year.
Right.
Especially.
Well,
Oh my gosh, you just said that again out loud.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.